everybody. Welcome to another edition, another week here of Critical Conversations, the show where we and you get to talk. It is the 5th of August, 2020. I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Melissa.
Thank you.
And also my wife. I might be biased. I might be prejudiced. I might possibly have a biased point of view about that. But anyway, good. We are here. Hey, everybody. And yes, I can't believe we are actually going to talk about UFOs. Probably should have put UFOs and Scientology in the title. Probably would have attracted more folks. But wait, what is this? What is happening here? All right, let's see if we can.
I mean, I still see us on my computer.
Seeing you? Okay, good. My computer errored and I thought the stream went out. Whoa! Don't want any of that. All right, good. So it looks like we're still good and going. The fun of live stream is that you are constantly in the back of your mind, always a little bit on edge of something going wrong. It's the wonderful thing about live TV. Anyway, yeah, so Scientology, UFOs. The reason I say that is because I do have some Scientology stories connected to or around UFOs, and those might be kind of fun to tell later, but I thought we might talk about UFOs, weather balloons. Yeah, if you just, if it starts buffering on you, just just refresh the page and it should be okay. I want to believe. Me too. Okay, so I will say, actually, that I am not a completely objective observer on this whole thing. I suspect, like a lot of you, I was a voracious UFOologist when I was a kid. I was really into going to the library. I mean, I read about a lot of stuff as a kid. I really dived into a lot of interesting information wells, but UFOs was definitely one of them. And I remember reading abduction stories and farmers out in the fields, getting picked up by the UFOs and all of that stuff. And I thought, I mean, when you're a kid, it's not like you've got a lot of critical thinking to put into this. You're reading these books. They sound like true factual accounts. So you file it away as a true factual account. And then you find out later on that maybe that's not the case, and maybe things are a little worse than they seem, because people tell lies, people tell exaggerations, stuff like that. Anyway, I've had to refresh my screen twice on this today, and I will say also, just to say, yesterday we were doing a live stream, and YouTube seems to have changed a few things in the background on how live streams are being set up on the back end, and maybe how they're being presented. So we're just going to kind of have to roll with it if there are technical issues, and hopefully this will just keep going through. I noticed a couple other people are having that happen too. There is no change on my end. Everything I have done technically to set up for everything is the same as I've always done, and checking and queuing and all of that. So I apologize if there are technical issues on your end. I'm having the same problems, and I'm really not sure where that's coming from. So, as far as UFOs, huge subject. Recently have been coming back into the public sphere because there was some leaked videos. There were 3 videos that were leaked, I think in 2016, which the Pentagon apparently recently acknowledged as valid, real, actual, here is the footage. Yes, that is validated footage from our Navy pilots. And we've got those videos, and we'll show them in a little bit here, because I thought you guys might want to see them if you haven't. 2 of them have audio, 1 of them doesn't. And so we'll hear a little bit of what the pilots are talking about as well, and I've looked up some other things, but they are exactly, people tend to immediately jump from UFO to aliens.
Alien, yep.
I'm not. I actually have a couple other things to talk about here, with this tonight, but the first thing I want to say is that by the way, before I even say any of that, because I didn't do this last week and I was very, very remiss, there is our 7 cam.
Oh, so yeah, there he is. He's playing.
Yeah, there he is, messing with his...
and now he's yawning. He's done.
7.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Nope.
See, Melissa got that little fish for him. It's this little blue plastic fish at his feet
stuffed
there.
with catnip, and he's supposed to chew on it to help brush his teeth, but he just kind of bats at it.
Yeah. So there's our little guy, our little slice of heaven there. All right, so 7, Cam. We'll come back to 7, check up on him in a little bit. What was I saying? I was saying that, UFOs. Yeah, the videos. So we have these videos of this, and apparently it's validated, true, real, but it's not necessarily. Oh, that's right. I was very disappointed in the public response to this. I mean, now, of course, this happens this year when the entire world's kind of going to hell in a lot of ways, especially here in the U.S. with all the craziness that's happening. And we're not going to get into talking about that tonight. But yeah, there's a very real possibility in the eyes of the military and the government that, well, if it's not of this world, then that means somebody else on this planet is producing some pretty amazing technology. So they would be keen to find out what that's all about. And there was even a project that's been running for years, which I think folded a few years ago officially, but might still unofficially be running, depending on who you're listening to and how deep down the conspiracy well they are. That was all about identifying unidentified, vehicles and trying to figure out, where they could come from, what their capabilities might be, all of that. And you would need to have that kind of activity going on. And this was not Project Blue Book. This was actually something much later, all the way up to modern times. And it was all about identifying these aircraft. So I forgot the name of it. Excuse me. But yeah, somebody's writing here, Rubio expressed concerns that China or Russia or some other adversary had made some technological leap that allows them to conduct this sort of activity, quote unquote. Exactly. So that's why we actually should be concerned about this. But the response was a big, huge collective yawn. Oh, aliens. Yeah, that fits for 2020. Check that box off. Okay.
No big surprise.
Right? And I was very disappointed because I even said it on Twitter. I was like, but look, we've got evidence. This is real validated evidence of something in the air taken by, multi-million-dollar aircraft recording equipment. With probably the most reliable observers, trained observers that you could possibly ask for, fighter jet pilots. I mean, you want to talk about people who are trained within an inch of their life to identify things and know what they're looking at and report on what they saw. Man, And I am continuing to get buffering or refresh problems. So again, I'm not sure. She's running great though. So who knows what the problem is here. But anyway, for those of you who are having to deal with that, thank you for your patience.
Didn't they just find some weird materials too?
Well, okay, no, but I have the report and the person on this thing. There was there's a quote here, and let me, before I get to that, let me throw out to everybody, the call-in line is 984-214-4154. And I would really love to hear from you guys about what you think about the whole subject and any experiences you might have had with it.
Yeah, maybe you saw something.
Right? I'm honestly, genuinely curious. And I'm not, a professional UFO debunker, and I'm not a UFO-ologist anymore. I'm not going to sit here and chant line and verse to you about whether they are or not real. I am just kind of curious what people's experiences are about this. I have my own feelings about it are that it's a bit of a mixed bag because I think that there are factual observations made of phenomena that a person literally, truly has no idea what they saw. And it could have been a natural phenomena. It could have been an unnatural phenomena. It's impossible to tell based on the way they remember it and describe it, and of course the time period. Then there are people who are engaged in hyperbole or exaggeration or just making stuff up. I'm sure there's plenty of those. And then there are potentially real cases where something
Something's going on.
Something's up. And these fighter jet videos are, I think, examples of that.
Could be another country did it. Could be somebody out there did it. Who knows?
Exactly. Exactly. We don't know. That's the whole point, is they are unidentified. We don't know. And I don't know, of course, are the 3 hardest words to say in critical thinking. And they're very difficult, right? It's hard to just say, well, I don't know. But it's the right thing to do in this case. We don't know, but boy, wouldn't it be fun to try to find out? Now, as far as the government having materials on hand that might be of an extraterrestrial origin, because there's this quote running around about materials that are not of this world. So I looked this up to find out what this was about. And, oh yes, this will actually reference that, that government agency too, I think. Yeah. Oh, lots of covert programs, blah, blah, blah. They don't actually name it. Oh, here it is. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. That was the name of it. Okay. That was the one that folded just a few years ago. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. And they were meant to, quote, standardize collection and reporting on sightings of unidentified, aerial vehicles, and publicly divulge at least some of its findings twice a year. So that's what that thing was. And then in June, there was a Senate report about this. And this was where Rubio comes in, because Senator Marco Rubio chairs the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And he expressed that he was very happy this was being looked into, because it's very, very, what their first inclination to think of when they see stuff like this is not little green men. It is, what are the Russians or the Chinese doing now? And that's a valid concern. So, and Rubio says that to me is a national security risk and one we should be looking into. So it's interesting how this is all kind of being publicly talked about these days, whereas in the decades past, it was not. Okay, and we get to Harry Reid, who was the former Nevada senator who was quite key in funding for that project and others. He was very much into finding out about UFOs, but he also made it clear in a tweet just in July 24th when he tweeted out, "I have no knowledge and I have never suggested the federal government or any entity has unidentified flying objects or debris from other worlds. I have consistently said we must stick to science, not fairy tales about little green men." So that's Harry Reid's quote about it. And yet you have this bit here. The astrophysicist Eric Davis, who consulted with the Pentagon's original UFO program and now works for the defense contractor Aerospace Corporation, told the Times that after he examined certain materials, he came to the conclusion that, quote, "we couldn't make them ourselves," unquote. In fact, Davis briefed a Department of Defense agency as recently as March about retrieving materials from, quote, "off-world vehicles not made on this earth," end quote. So that's where that quote's coming from. Maybe it's taken out of context. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe he meant something else, but that's the quote that everybody's running around with right now on the other world materials. So it could be read, and it might very well be that this is a case here of real live UFOs, from outer space type of thing. And it could be something else entirely. So I'm just sitting here playing with my refreshing on my screen here so I can see your comments and also make sure we're still on the screen. Yeah, Alex is saying that Eric Davis has a very spotty record, and that could well be. That quote that I just read from was all I've actually found in terms of isolating where that was coming from. Because if the Pentagon was saying that they had, that if they were flat out at a press conference saying, yeah, we got stuff from some other world. Whoa. What?
Yeah.
Right. That would be quite something.
That would be shocking.
Yeah. Hey, maybe
it would be more than just a yawn.
Right? Maybe maybe it's the little green men who are messing with my transmission right now with my live stream. Maybe
or maybe it's the Pentagon.
Maybe it's the Pentagon. All right. Well, like I said, I would love to hear from you guys on this. So call in line 984-214-4154. Now, it was interesting. How are we doing on our comments? Anything I should know about or have a heads up on? Pretty good. All right. Scientologically, by the way, Scientology is neck deep in aliens.
I bet.
Obviously, you know, everybody knows about the Xenu story. I might as well say now that that L. Ron Hubbard was pretty loud and proud about crowing about aliens amongst us and aliens having been on this planet many, many times in many different forms. That there were space battles happening, raging in the air above us while they were coming on land and fighting pitched battles in Egypt and the Middle East back in the day. That Egypt was a spaceport. Hey, Couch, thank you for that super chat. Awesome. That there were invader forces is how he would often refer to them, and that they were by number. There were about 7 or so of them. I think that he had counted off, and they had different body types, and he talked about how there were invaders forces who had great big lobster claws, and there were others that had big teeth or something, and he would go on a mad roll about this stuff often. And this was, in fact, one time in St. Hill, he was talking about how he was sitting there sitting down to dinner with his family, and his daughter came walking in with bright white boots on. It was in the 60s, of course. So they had those big, tall white boots. And she comes in wearing these things, and he saw it out of the corner of his eye and said, "Oh, they're here now. Oh, they came, right? We're too late." The space guys, because he thought that they were space boots, right? They were
go-go boots.
Yeah, he thought that's what he said, right? So
go-go boots mean the aliens are here.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So Hubbard had quite fanciful tales about all of this, and that, of course, just fed my belief from childhood that, you know, we are not alone. Now, having come out of Scientology, having kind of thrown all that under the bus or whatever, and you know, not really going in all with that belief system anymore, this is one of those things where I've come down on the side of math, just straight up math, just mathematically speaking. There should be life all over the place.
Yeah.
In the universe. You know, out in the big wide world out there, the big wide universe beyond our little planet. So I think if we understand the universe properly, yeah, exactly. But if we have a pretty clear idea of what's going on out there in terms of stars and planets going around them and how life evolves on planets, and if we have that sort of thing going on, and it's consistent throughout the universe that this is how life develops, then it really would just be a matter of math. And in an infinite universe where you have, you know, billions upon billions of stars with billions upon billions upon billions of planets, how could you not have, you know, this spark of life, unless there is something so uniquely amazing about us and the nature of life here on Earth that it is just, you know, impossible to replicate anywhere else. And so far, I believe in the 60s, they pretty much showed that that was not true, that you could create, that life could be created through, you know, certain chemicals and a certain formula, and boom, comes the lightning or whatever, and life could then spark, amino acids could start self-replicating or however that process goes, and away you go. So as far as, yeah, somebody's mentioning now, don't you think the distance is way too far to get from there to here? That's where the technology question comes in. Boy, we are really having problems on my computer here today.
What is going on?
I don't know. I'm going to try opening it up in a different window and see if that does anything. Technology. on this planet being so incredibly, amazingly reliable. So, okay, so if Einstein was wrong, then faster than light travel might be possible, but that's a really big, huge, gigantic if.
Yeah.
Could there be other ways of understanding the universe? Could there be other ways of framing the universe in such a way that you could create propulsion systems or some other kind of system that would take an object from one place in the universe to another? Well, we have the whole concept of folding space and all, and warp and all this stuff, and way beyond my pay grade. I am not even pretending to understand anything about astrophysics or propulsion systems or space-time continuums or any of that stuff. I just don't. And so I'm like, I don't know, man. Don't know. But here's the thing. If it's true that we're being visited, and we've got stories about this, this is amazing. If you go to Wikipedia, one of my favorite sources for information, and you go to the list of reported UFO sightings, there is a page on this, you will find them going all the way back to the second millennium BC, 1440 BC.
Wow.
Yeah, so this stuff goes back a ways. And if we're going to say even one of these stories, even one of them is true, because they don't have to all be true.
Right. I'm sure not all of them are true at all.
No, of course. As I said, you can categorize these in multiple ways, right? There's delusion, illusion. There is, there's, something happened, but we're not sure what. And then there's straight up, no, we saw something. It was real. It was there. We got it on film, but we don't know what it is, right? And it definitely exhibited characteristics that were not technologically, they were more advanced than anything we can do that we know of. So you look at that and you go, okay, well, that's quite something. So if there was, as Einstein himself said, 1,000 experiments can prove me right if one experiment can prove me wrong. One bad finding, one exception to the rule, and suddenly it's not a rule anymore. That's science. That's how it goes, And I'm not saying that Einstein's work is flawed, but I will point out that if we have been visited even once by something out there, then clearly they solved that problem somehow. Maybe it was a robot ship. We don't know.
That's what we do most of the time is just send out. We just send out little.
Exactly.
What am I trying to think of? What's the word?
Probes.
Probes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We send out little probes. Maybe they have faster than light probes that.
Exactly.
Come over.
So Einstein, as Alex is saying, Einstein was not wrong, but it's theoretically possible to bend gravity. Well, okay, then maybe that's it. I'm going to hold off on in any competition between humans and other life forms in this universe. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're smarter than us, and that they might have figured some things out we haven't figured out, or even be able to perceive the universe in a way we don't or can't. Yeah. And therefore, we're able to figure out this problem in and maybe to them was a fairly easy, straightforward way that we would never even conceive of, because we just don't perceive the universe that way.
Right, or it could be like Arrival, where they just totally thought completely differently than we did, and their language was completely different than any language we ever saw before.
Exactly. Well, and the most fascinating thing about Arrival was the fact that their perception of time.
Yeah, it was so different. Yeah,
was completely different from ours. Mm-hmm. And I'll bet if you had that perception issue, you would have a very different life. Mm-hmm. If every moment was something you were aware of every moment, or something like that, that'd be wild. So there's lots and lots and lots of imaginative possibilities for what could be out there with this. Let's go ahead, since no one's called in yet, let's go ahead and take a look at one of these videos, because I thought that might be kind of fun. And here's my UFO page. And, all right, that's text one, that's right. And there's the first video. So this is a cockpit video. It's a heads-up display from a combat jet. And as you can see on the side there were 2 incidents that are being recorded here. There was a 2004 incident, and then there was the 2000. There was another one later, which 2014 and 15. There were these pilots associated with the USS Theodore Roosevelt strike group, and they reported coming in contact with these things. So this is the first one, and I believe this is the one from 2004. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what that is. So you can see they're tracking something there. There's no sound on this one, so there's no cockpit chatter. There was cockpit chatter recorded. It's just on the, I read a quote from this pilot who actually took this, and he said that that there was chatter and there wasn't anything confidential in it, but for whatever reason, they took the sound out when they released it publicly.
Well, we said something the government didn't like.
Yeah, so there's that one, and then we have this one, and I think
there's a fucking drone, bro.
This one in a second.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
But this is another heads-up
My
display from
God.
another fighter tracking this object right there.
They're all
that you
going
can see
against
in
the wind.
center
The wind's
screen.
120 miles from the
And
west.
if this is the one I think
Oh,
it
big
is,
dude.
then this would be the Tic Tac. Excuse me. There was one of the pilots.
That's
who
not
was
LNS though, is
tracking
it?
with this,
It's not LNS.
called it a Tic Tac.
Well, if
because
there's
it's a
a
big
thing,
white object
it's
out in the
rotating.
sky, and the notable thing about this was that let's see here. Let's turn that off and go to this one. Here's the last one. That object they're trying to track it. See that thing moving real fast? They're about to get it into the tracking there. Boom. And I don't know if you guys can hear the sound. It's not coming through from me here.
Did you box moving target?
And
No, I took it on the
now they're
current.
tracking
Oh,
with it,
okay.
and you can see it's cruising pretty
Oh my
fast.
gosh, dude.
And
Wow.
these have already been gone
Fly.
over, looked over by Pentagon experts. So they are not. Here we are, back to us. So these have already been gone over. The Pentagon has verified that those are unidentified objects. They have no idea what those things are. And one of them, the Tic Tac, dropped from 60,000 feet to just above the ocean. This was off the coast of San Diego. This one happened. Within a matter of seconds.
Whoa.
No sonic boom, no method, no obvious heat, no heat signature being picked up by equipment that is designed to pick up heat signatures. And no obvious means of propulsion, no obvious means of how it changes direction and all that. And the pilots were just totally like, wow, man. And there were multiple pilots, and this was picked up on radar by the ship. This wasn't just some pilot randomly flying around out off the coast of San Diego. These were training exercises where the radar on land was tracking this object, sent the pilot out to go check it out. He went and got video, came back. Then they sent another guy out, and he took video and came back. And so this was definitely something that multiple people in the military were aware of and were tracking for quite some time, at least a few hours. So this was, when I got the whole story on this, I just about fell out of my chair because, and this was just a couple months ago that I think it was June or July that the story broke. So, man, what a wild, wild, wild ride, you know? Okay, now somebody earlier asked me about Captain Bill, I think it was. There's this question, do you ever meet Captain Ron, who allegedly dressed LA Org staff in jumpsuits and go-go boots in the 1970s because that's what Sea Org aliens wore and claimed he could see invader forces in space from the roof? Yeah, you're talking about a guy named Captain Bill Roberts, and who otherwise, he was a very interesting character who I've actually had long talks with John Atack about on this channel. So if you look up my talks with John Atack, we didn't do a whole video about Captain Bill. But Captain Bill was a very, very colorful figure in Scientology's history. And he did do that, but it was at the Advanced Org of Los Angeles, not LA Org. It was there where PAC is now. I think it was at the old AOLA building. And the advanced organization is that organization in Scientology that delivers the OT levels. OTs 1 through 5. And then you go to flag and you do 6 and 7. But back in 1969, 1970, 71, when Captain Bill was running the show, it was just up through, whatever OT level Ron had delivered up to that point, which I think was OT3, the Xenu story. So Captain Bill was this real colorful guy, and he would take people up to the roof of the org and talk about space invader forces and stuff. And I think it was him and Ron who conspired to have people dress in these really stupid space-looking outfits, Sea Org member uniforms. They had white helmets, white boots, they had spats. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I like to believe UFOs are Xenu escaped from his mountain prison. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, somebody's saying they went to Roku to watch. It's buffering. My phone is not. Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on with YouTube. I've had to refresh like 10 times here. All right, so anyway, so yeah, Captain Bill was a very, very colorful figure, and he was full in on aliens watching the Earth. Hubbard implied, sort of put out there, that we were being monitored, like all the time. Because Earth is
we're so exciting.
Yeah, right. Because Earth is a prison planet, and we're all trapped here spiritually, right? According to Scientology. So, so then the aliens who are trapping us here, I mean, this is a premeditated, caused effort, are still monitoring, still watching, and still spying. And in fact, if you believe Hubbard's whole cosmology, then there are multiple alien races watching or monitoring us.
There must be a lot of them because there's so many of us. I mean, there's billions of us. So how many of them are there to be able to watch us all the time?
Yeah, they're crafty, man. And they actually, he even said in the early days, he talked about how they influenced society. Because this is actually kind of fun since we're getting off onto this, and since we do not have any calls yet, I will get into talking about this because it's actually kind of fun and interesting, and I never get to talk about this crazy stuff. Okay, Hubbard talked about bodies in pawn, P-A-W-N, bodies in pawn, bodies that were held as pawns, as something that you could control and use to make something else, to accomplish something else. And this was an old lecture. This is 1952. And he talked about this matrix-like setup, this setup where you as a spiritual being, as a Thetan, could actually be connected to and be compelled to have more than one body at a time. Okay, so here you are running this body on Earth. Here, here's this wonderful body that you have, but you also have another body on another planet on the other side of the damn universe, and you're a Thetan. So you don't care about time, space, distances. That doesn't affect your ability to perceive anything, thetanically speaking. So they could hold that body, keep it fed, keep it in stasis, and then when they want to give you a communication to do something here on Earth, they just wake the body up and talk to it. And it doesn't wake up and have conversations with them. They can just, sort of hypnotically feed it with its commands and stuff. Hubbard described it in this kind of detail. And so you have this bodies in pawn thing.
Maybe when you have those really weird dreams or you dream that you're someone else, that's what's going on.
Exactly. That's exactly what Hubbard would say. Exactly what he would say. And he would also have explained the different kinds of ships that have landed here and abducted people and stuff as the different invader forces that he came up with, right? There's more. I mean, who said that there's only one set of aliens visiting us?
Right.
Right? Where's that idea come from?
Yeah. Could
have been a lot more. Bodies in pawn. Also, why Ulrich said so many inventions are made near it. Yes. Okay. Roberts is asking, was the whole bodies in pawn concept also, would that also explain why you might see inventions, the same kind of, technological leaps forward happen simultaneously in different parts of the world? Yeah, anything can be explained with this. Anything. And And yes, that could be a reason why there have been technological advances, sudden changes in our evolution, sudden changes in our technology and our social development, all can be explained by this unfalsifiable matrix-like bodies and pawns sort of theory, you see. So Hubbard was really, really good at coming up with these sci-fi type catch-all explanations for things that when you buy into this cosmology of Scientology, then it all sort of fits into this big picture and isn't this interesting stuff. So anyway, pretty interesting as far as that goes. So, yeah, there you go. I thought the government was feeding us alien tech bit by bit. Yeah, a lot of people have been thinking that. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Material not of this world. Area 51. See, I happen to think that there really was not a whole lot to these conspiracies from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s about the government covering a whole bunch of crazy stuff up. It's very, very plausible that the government was covering stuff up. But the idea that there's alien spaceships and alien bodies and this stuff stored in Area 51 and stuff, I don't believe any of that for a second. And I don't believe that because I am more into believing what I know about people. And what I know, not believe, what I know about people is they can't keep secrets.
Nope.
And you expect them to keep these multi-generationally?
Right.
Right? We couldn't keep the atom bomb secret. While it was being built, it was being delivered, it was being given the secrets of it to Russia, to other places. I mean, we are horrible. I mean, what's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you do when somebody tells you a secret?
Yeah, you go and tell your friend or your spouse
You can't
or your
wait.
girlfriend.
Exactly. It's like you at least have the urge to do it. Whether you do it or not is your moral compass. But, but the urge to want to tell somebody.
It's there, yeah.
Right? So, this, yes, did you see the video way back about alien autopsies at Roswell?
I remember those.
Yep, I definitely saw those. I was all about that stuff, man. And I just don't think that the government successfully covered that up, hid it, hadn't much of anything to do with it. Is it conceivable? Is it possible that an alien craft has crashed somewhere in Earth? Sure, of course, anything's possible. But that doesn't mean it's happened. Doesn't mean it's likely. And, and really, would you come from light years away, hundreds, thousands of light years away, and then crash here? I mean, really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Again, it's possible, but is it likely?
Well, dude, I don't know. And I would think too, like if aliens were crashing here and stuff, we'd be looking at their technology, and we'd have way better technology.
Yeah. Somebody's giving us a call here, going through screening right now. We will get to that. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't want anybody walking away from this show thinking I'm deep into the ufology rabbit hole of autopsies and alien crashes and spaceships. I'm not. And I actually believe this is one thing about that Bill Clinton has said that I actually believe him on, because this is a subject that he would have zero reason to lie about. He wouldn't even need to bring it up. And that is that he said when he got to the White House, the first thing he did was he got one of his best buds he said, go find out if there are UFOs. I want to know everything, right? And this guy went and was empowered by the president to go find out, and came back with big goose eggs, just nothing. Nope, doesn't exist, right? And I don't have any reason to doubt that is true, right? So this is why I think the transparency now about these videos, which go back to, remember, the first one to 2004, that sounds more plausible to me as a bureaucratic, okay, mea culpa, and let's go do this and let's talk about it now, because this could be a national security issue. And it's something that, a lot of people have a lot of attention on. So if there are valid reports or information to be gotten, if we make it public, we probably have a much better chance of getting that information versus everything's secret and quiet and we can't talk about it, right? So, all right, let's take this call here. Hello, you are on. Hi, hey, welcome to the show.
Hi. Love you guys. You know, I would love to believe in intelligent life somewhere other than Earth.
Yeah.
But when we look at, I would love to believe it. So far, there's, we have all of the, all the stuff you've been talking about. Still doesn't prove it.
Nope.
But people also need to look at what is life. I mean, it could be microorganisms as life.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I'd love to believe in Bigfoot, but I can't yet.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I do love you guys having a call-in show, even though hardly anybody calls in. I'm so sorry about that.
Well, tonight was interesting
Pete.
that way. Yeah.
Call him. It's why he's doing this tonight.
Exactly.
But yeah, exactly. But I do think there's life out there in outer space. But what we have to clarify: what do we want to think as life? Could it be microorganisms? Probably, yes.
That's right. Even
I would love
viruses.
it to be Star Trek-like, because I'm a Trekkie. I'd love it to be Star Trek type like.
Me too. Me too. I've kind of got this secret hope that they are kind of, bipedal, that life evolves in similar ways across the universe because the rules of evolution would be the same. That's one model.
If you're talking other life, why would their evolution be the same as ours?
Oh, not necessarily the same. Not necessarily the same, but maybe certain rules of physicality or something might be more efficient in terms of how life develops with arms and legs versus, I don't know, there's such a variety. It could be octopus life. Right. So actually, who knows, Oh, hey, thanks, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I told to cut you off there. Go ahead.
No. You weren't cutting me off. I'm sorry. That was funny.
The Ferengi.
But yeah, I think.
What if they look like the Ferengi?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right.
Well, I think if there is like intelligent life that is like not microorganisms, that none of us are going to be prepared for what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's
as
exactly
much as how much of us want to believe it.
That's right.
I come from scientific medical background, so I'm out till there's more evidence.
Yep.
I'm not saying there's not, but I'm not saying that there is. I want to believe it very, very bad. I want that evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that evidence like I'm 60. I wanted it like decades ago.
Yep. Yep. Me too. Ever since I was a kid.
Yeah. I think 99.9% of it can be explained to like other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's that other small percent that leaves me questioning. Yeah, there could be, but exactly what form does it take?
Exactly. Pretty sure it's not going to land here, open its mouth, and start talking English.
No.
As we see in so many, space movies.
Yeah, they never have an explanation for that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, how do they start talking English? I mean, that just doesn't exactly. But I love your guys' show. I'm calling in because you're having a call-in show, people. Call him.
Thank you, Meredith. You're awesome.
And I love you guys. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. We do have another call coming through the queue here. And cool. So we will get to that in just a moment. And forms of life. Okay, so we just sent, by the way, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but literally within a couple days ago, we sent a probe, a vehicle, a explorer to Mars, specifically to look to find if there's any evidence of life in any form there or in its past. And it's going to roam around out there, and it's got its whole programming to do what it's going to do. But I was super pumped about that. And I personally would love to see eventually, not tomorrow, but I think eventually we need to do something like that to all the planets in our solar system. Because what kind of life could be in Jupiter? Could be developing deep, deep, deep down in a gas giant.
Or on its moons.
Well, exactly. Europa, actually, that was the whole basis of 2010, the sequel to 2001, A Space Odyssey, written by Arthur C. Clarke, was that life evolves on Europa. And we find it, and then get told to leave it the hell alone. Okay, we got Keith here. Let's take this call. Hello?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, man.
Am I coming in okay?
You are. You're coming in great. How you doing today?
Good. How are you? How are you doing, Melissa?
I'm doing all right.
All right. My opinion on aliens, I do believe that out there somewhere there's intelligent life, but I think they're bound by physics just like we are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they're coming to Earth. You know, but I mean, I've seen videos from like NASA, you know, like the space station, you know, and they're weird. You know, I can't explain it. You know, I'm sure you've probably seen it. There was one where there's like light. It was like a ball of light, and it was going straight, and it stopped, and it went back the other way.
Huh.
Right.
And you know, I can't explain that, but I can't say it's aliens either because I don't have enough evidence to say that. You know, maybe it hit another piece of space junk and it went off the other way. I don't know, but
yeah, exactly. Perceptions can be tricky, especially in space. But when NASA's saying we don't know, and astronauts are saying we don't know, something up there.
You mentioned the whole basis of Scientology is based on aliens, right?
There's deep alien belief in it, yes. The basis of it is spirituality, but yes, there's a lot of alien stuff there.
Do you think that, like all this new UFO stuff coming out, do you think there will be a rise in membership in Scientology?
No, I don't think the public connects the dots with Scientology that quickly, that if they're interested in UFOs, they should go find out about Scientology. You know, unless you get into the weird Xenu stuff, and most people just kind of laugh at that because it happened so long ago. So I don't think they'll see a surge in membership, but I do think that there will be a reinvigoration within Scientology of those Scientologists who are paying attention to this stuff, because this kind of stuff excites the hell out of them. And also can scare them a little bit too, because if somebody starts getting the idea that these are, you know, like what's shown in these videos we showed tonight, if they start thinking along the lines of invader forces or something like that, then they might start getting a little freaked out.
I told Robert in YouTube chat I should have joined the Heaven's Gate cult when I had the chance.
That's right. I saw that comment. Exactly. Yeah, we missed our opportunity apparently. Jesus.
Yeah, they got on the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the next comet that comes, I'll get on it.
Good luck, man.
All right, Chris, I guess I'm gonna get off here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
All right, cool. I always love hearing from you guys. Yes, exactly. When Star Wars came out, all the Scientologists were so excited. Exactly. Alex is saying, I would recommend to everybody to check out the Event Horizon podcast. It talks about all these questions of astrobiology, alien civilizations with actual scientists. Beautiful.
I have to remember that.
Robert, no, I had not heard that the FBI are supposed to be the fifth invader force, but that's a detail that could have escaped me. I would not surprise me if L. Ron Hubbard said something like that. He kind of ended up hating on the FBI after they wouldn't do his bidding for him. He was writing them endlessly in the 1950s, accusing every enemy of being a commie. And the FBI just kind of filed them away and said, yeah, Hubbard's kind of mental. It's literally what they wrote. Yeah, the Smoking Man covered that part of it. I really wish, by the way, X-Files had been a better show. I was really, after...
It was in the beginning.
Oh, after I got out of Scientology, I had heard all about the X-Files. And so I start watching it avidly. I get it. I get the whole first season. I start watching it. It's second season. And I'd seen one of the movies.
Yeah, hopefully the first one.
I think so. I think I'd seen the first one with the bees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I saw that one. And the movie was good enough, I mean, on its own. And I had not seen any X-Files as a show. I just understood the concept of the show. But I just couldn't get into it. It was, I mean, if you're going to have an ongoing story arc, a continuing story arc, then Scully needs to stop being so goddamn skeptical when she is literally, with her own eyes, been abducted, seen these things, had UFO experiences, and then keeps trying to say that that's not what it is. I just was not, I couldn't get, after Mulder got abducted, that was it. I didn't even get that far.
Yeah, that was pretty lame after he got abducted.
Yeah, it wasn't, I never got that far. TV series V, I loved the original because I was in grade school and it was I was the correct demographic for that show. Yes. I was TV, wanted the toys, thought it was wonderful, thought it was a great concept. Read the book. I mean, I was really into V as a TV show. And then they ended it after defeating the aliens and then came up with a TV series, which made no sense at all. Like, they did the movie or miniseries. Yeah. Then they did another miniseries, killed all the aliens, and then they started up a TV series, which made no sense. Yeah,
that was like in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was a very strange show. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, I think we're going to move toward wrapping up the show for this week. I have hit on the things I wanted to hit on, and show you guys the video. Yeah, eating the guinea pig was the best. That's right.
We have one more 7-cam.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, let's see what he. Oh, there he is. And there he goes. That is so 7. Yeah. Okay. There he goes. Wow. What timing? That is 7.
Look at that too.
Yeah, usually maybe he saw the camera or something, because when he sees it, whenever he's aware of the fact that he's on camera, it's all over. It's so weird. Do I think that aliens and UFOs coming to Earth on a mission of peace or conquer and exploit? I think conquer and exploit, but that's only thinking with aliens having the same kind of morality that we have.
Exactly, because we don't know. I mean, they could be totally different than us, and they could come for peace and try to help us out, or it could be like that, yeah.
Yeah, hard to say.
What was that book where the aliens come and tell them you have to figure it all out by a certain time, or you're going away?
Oh, you mean that Twilight Zone one?
No, it was a book. It was...
Oh.
And these aliens come to the planet and give them a certain amount of time to figure out peace. And if they don't do it by then...
Yeah, that was a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, but it was a book, too.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was based on that.
Yeah, one was based on the other.
I saw the Twilight Zone episode, and it was one of the 1980s Twilight Zone episodes. And it was called A Small Talent for War, is what it was called. And it was great because this alien leader comes down to the UN and starts talking about how humans need to be wiped from the face of the earth. You have a small talent for war, but otherwise are unremarkable, and we're going to get rid of you. And so the humans are like, no. Let us prove that we're good and we're worthy and we're wonderful and we should be saved. And the guy goes, okay, we'll give you 24 hours. And he comes back in 24 hours. And the UN, they've hammered out this peace process, and they've come up with the plan, the ultimate plan for world peace. And they give it to him, and he looks at it, and he starts laughing his ass off. And he goes, guys, we are a war-like species. We are conquerors. We are not here. Peace? This is your problem. You guys have all these weapons and fight all the time, but in your hearts you want peace. What's wrong with you? You are useless. You are a useless species. This is very cute. Thank you very much for the laugh.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you later. And they come and blow up Earth, and that was that. So, good times. Okay, guys, I think we'll wrap up here. So thanks for coming around and watching the show this week. Definitely veered off into left field on purpose. Want to do a lighter show this week. Want to do something a little not so heavy and dark and deep because, you know, all you got to do is look out your window a little bit in some places to see the dark and nasty right now. And I wanted to do something light and fun. So thanks for joining us for this. And we will see you guys next week. And we'll see what kind of dark, deep topics we can talk about then. All right, guys. Let's go there.